Mission Log Live is brought to you by Moss Hero Collector and their collection of exclusive Star Trek visual reference books and other great titles and gifts waiting for you at herocollector.com/books. Use promo code MISSION10 at checkout, 10% off all books and graphic novels. Are you the audience with the required input? If so, then we are full of ecstatic gratitude that you found us. It's Monday night at 7 p.m. It's time to Log Live. I'm John Champion.
And I'm Holly Amos. Tonight on the show, your calls about the 11th episode of Star Trek Discovery Season 3. It's time to meet Su'Kal. What has he been up to for the last 125 years? And what is his connection to the burn? Join us. Tell us what you think. Click the Zoom meeting link. Use the one tap from your smartphone or just call us at 669-900-6833. Just make sure you enter the meeting code and password. You'll be connected to Earl, who is patiently standing by, and then to us, and we are also patiently standing by.
I like the
golf
clap. Yes, that was perfect. Yes, the golf game. It was all those Starfleet personnel. They're doing this like earnest, but it was still like quiet. I mean, it wasn't ecstatic gratitude. You think it was just polite.
It was golf clap gratitude.
Yeah, golf clap gratitude. But I guess maybe they don't have golf in the 32nd century. Who knows? Hey, pleasure to see you tonight, Holly. Pleasure to see Earl tonight, as always. And, if you call in, you'll get to see Earl and talk to him before you talk to us. That's part of the treat of doing this show, is that you get to talk to Earl as well. So before you do that, before you say hi to us, let us say hi to you. There's so many people joining us in the chat right now on Facebook. Pleasure to see you all. First and foremost, there's Scott Palm. Pleasure to see you, my friend. We had the Vice Admiral who's there in the chat. Pleasure to see you. There's David. I think, David already calling out that there are two Daves. So thank goodness that there are two Daves and at least two Pauls. Hopefully we have three Pauls. There's Evelyn, there's Ron, there's Carlos, there's Tate, there's another Paul. Okay, there's Dominic, there's John, other John, not me, other John. And oh my gosh, so many. Oh, there's Brian and Ryan. There's so many other people. Right off the bat, Ryan, I was actually impressed by Tilly's performance as captain, with the exception of losing Discovery. So there is that. It was like, yay, Tilly, but you ended up in the worst position, with the worst challenge to you on your first command. Sorry about that. Michael saying hello, John and Holly. Brian saying hello. Dave saying we multiply. So that's the other Dave there. Just one Tate. Yes, you're right. Just one Tate. There's Brad and let's see here. Oh, there's Paul saying hello, John. And a pleasure to see all of you. Really excellent to have you joining us tonight as we talk about tonight's Star Trek. We're coming up toward the end, Holly. We've only got a couple more episodes, new episodes, then wraps. And I want to sort of tease it out there that we have two very interesting interviews coming with some Discovery insiders. So when we wrap up coverage of Discovery, the next two episodes of Mission Log Live, after that, each one will sort of be part wrap up and your feedback and your discussion, but also interviews with people who worked on Discovery. So I'm very excited about that. I'll just leave it there. Yeah, not going to tell you who yet, but you know, Holly, you've seen the calendar, but the other people don't know yet. So we'll share with you at a later. So let's talk about what's up next week on Mission Log Live. So Holly, we are back to discuss Star Trek Discovery Episode 12, The Good of the People. Normally, Norman and I would be alternating one episode each, but Norman is moving. He's not just moving, he's moving across country. So good luck to him. Stay safe, Norman, as you drive and move out from LA to Florida. So good luck on everything. And then we will see you in a few. Oh, Holly, you're raising your hand. I believe you have a.
I have to correct you.
Yes? Okay.
They renamed next week's episode.
They did?
It's not called The Good of the People
anymore. My gosh. What is it called?
To be fair, they did that with...
They changed the Citadel
They said they
Okay,
changed. This week was originally the
Yeah.
Citadel. So next week it was originally the Good of the People, and now it is There Is a Tide.
See, this is why I can't get my information from IMDb. This is the problem. So, and I can understand why they changed the Citadel to Sukkot, because A, Sukkot is the star of the episode, and B, so we all just think about that mall driving between LA and Anaheim. That's
Yeah,
all
and you
we
weren't
think
here.
about when we hear the Citadel.
You weren't here last
Yeah.
week, but like the Citadel was like filled with holiday shoppers on Super Saturday, the Saturday before Christmas. And so
Oh,
when we were on, it
no.
was like,
Oh, no.
maybe that's why they renamed it to not be associated
Right.
with the mall.
Yeah, please. Well, see, this is good. I should check those things like right before airtime, because apparently they just love to change the names of episodes. So yeah, join us for that one, not the Good of the People. And then I will wrap it up with episode 13, and then we will wrap it up again with our first special. But then Norman will be back, and he will be all set in at that point. And then this Thursday on regular Mission Log, well, sorry to disappoint you in advance, there is no show. We're not releasing a Mission Log episode. Normally, we would not have released one on Christmas Eve day, which was this past Thursday, but we had to get one out then, so we're going to take this week off. Again, Norman is moving, so we buy ourselves back a week that way, and then we'll be back next week. So everybody, enjoy your New Year's Eve day. Have that cocktail early when you would normally be listening to the Mission Log. That's the plan. So be in that. You can text me what you're drinking. How's that? So that is what's coming up on Mission Log. And then before we go on with tonight's recap and your calls and your comments, Holly, I would be delighted if you would catch us up on the poll questions.
Last week we asked, it's very simply, is black licorice good? And 74% of you said no, and you're wrong.
Well, no, I agree. I'm
136 folks, 74 said no, 26 said yes. I say yes. John says
yeah. I say no. I'm perfectly fine with being in the majority on that one. Being the iconoclast that I am, I'm okay with being in the majority there. So
that's fine.
Yeah.
It's more black licorice for me. That's fine.
If I ever get black licorice, I'm thinking of you first. Send it to you.
But you can't get like bad black licorice, because there is like good black licorice comes from like Australia.
Which would be all of it. Oh, okay.
No, that's wrong. This week, who will be the first officer of Discovery in the next episode? Which is, are we assuming that Tilly's out because she lost the ship? Maybe. I don't know. 37 votes.
Well, I mean,
so far.
Yeah.
First time at the con, girl. Aw. Burnham has 19%. Tilly still has 30%. Owo has 14%. And Grudge the cat, Space Cat, has 38%. Grudge is going to be the first.
I love it.
Space Cat, yeah. Hashtag Space Cat.
I love that. I hashtag Space Cat. That is awesome. Yes. Do we still agree that there's something going on with Grudge that we just don't know fully?
What's going on with her
that there will be some
paw?
reveal.
I mean, there is. There's no other reason for them to have her there. Like everything that has happened that seemed like an innocuous comment had something to do with something, like the song, everything. The cat has something. She's a queen of something. Like she's got to be. He keeps saying that, and I'm like, no, she's really a queen of something. She's got to be.
Exactly. Well, we only have a couple more
What's wrong
episodes
with her
to find out.
paw? Oh, she was favoring her left paw. That's not a passive comment either.
No, everything is important. All right. Well, then in that case, I will let you know how many important things I left out of the recap. I tried to keep it short. Tried the operative phrase there. I tried, but there's still a lot of plot to get through. So I will do that. And then we have the good fortune of so many great people lined up to call in, to chat with us, tell us what they thought. So we're right to your calls right after I just plow through this amazing recap. Here we go. Tonight's episode, Su'Kal. Well, we're picking up, literally right at the end of the previous episode, still saying bye, toasting the late Emperor Giorgio. She's not really dead, but she's gone. And Adira is saying hello again to Gray, who has kind of decided to just show up again. As Disco gets closer to the nebula, they discover that the Kelpian ship at the center of it has a life sign that's, unexpected and puts a little more urgency on the mission. That must be the offspring of Dr. Isa. Getting there is a super rough ride, though. The Kelpian ship is crashed on a planet inside the Violent Nebula, and even Book has trouble going to scout it in his super ship. While he's being treated, he's realized that the planet is just chock full of dilithium that the Kiev was investigating. This is to corroborate all that the data has led to. Now they have a where for the burn. What they need is a why. An away team of Saru, Culber, and Burnham prepare to go to the wreck of the Kelpian ship despite the intense radiation danger, while Tilly will assume the big chair on the Discovery. Things are heating up at the Emerald Chain and Osira, who are taking an offensive posture around Kaminar. That's got Vance sending part of the fleet there to help out if needed. Once these three have beamed to their coordinates, it gets weird. Weird, you say? Yeah, weird, I said. Like Burnham is a Trill, Culber is a Bajoran, and Saru is Doug Jones. That's how weird it is. These three are in very elaborate, spooky, and somewhat failing holodeck simulation that was set up to educate and sustain the Kelpian child. Others died however many years ago. The further they explore, it's like a place where MC Escher and Clive Barker got together and decided to throw a party. But they do spot the life form that they're looking for, an adult, scared, and confused Kelpian. There's also a monster, kind of. It's not really alive, but it seems to be a creation of the holoprogram based on the mental state of the Kelp, which, let's face it, isn't good. He's been isolated here for more than a century, raised by computers. He's met a child, a scared child who knows nothing about the outside world. Speaking of outside, it's getting nastier for the Disco crew, who are now visited by, oh, hello, Osira. Shields up, cloak the thing, power up the weapons, put the good china away. This could get nasty, since Osira definitely wants Disco's spore drive and definitely wants a planet full of dilithium. On that planet, in the Kelpian shipwreck, Saru and Culber are putting together pieces of the child's upbringing while Burnham tries to fend off the monster. Part of the program, a Kelpian elder reveals to Saru and Culber where the child Su'Kal might be and that he has to face his fears before he can be free. The monster is the embodiment of those fears and stays locked where Su'Kal can't. Burnham, on her own, has some small breakthrough with him, attempting to pass herself off as another holoprogram there to help him with social interaction, but that falls apart when she asks how to reset the program, scaring him even more. Su'Kal has escaped to his fortress, a part of the program he goes when he's feeling especially anxious. When Saru and Culber find Burnham, Su'Kal is building a totem to keep away the monster, but it seems even more emboldened, taunting him by saying, "See me." As Su'Kal feels more threatened, his bond with the beast emits a kind of energy surge off the planet and right onto the Discovery and Osiris that are hovering nearby. Those two were close, locked in a stale, Osira threatening to take the spore drive and Disco's crew, but this surge destabilized the dilithium in both ships, breaking the cloaks, and without fast action from those crews, would have destroyed both of them. With Discovery visible again, Osira ramps up the threats, and Tilly just says she'll blow up the ship if it prevents her from taking it. The timing is terrible, though. Just as they try to use the spore drive to jump away, Osira beams over a whole bunch of Orion goons to take Disco by force. Lucky thing Book managed to get away, though, and he's flying fast toward the dilithium planet to rescue the others. He's got to get them out of there, and they better not let what just happened happen, because it will cause another. Wait, what? The loner Kelpian somehow caused the burn when he was a child? We don't really know how exactly, but not only does Book save them all from dying of radiation poisoning, one of them needs to stay behind and take care of Su'Kal so he doesn't do it again. Saru tells Burnham to stay, but she says, no, it has to be him. Saru is the Kelpian. He knows the lullaby to calm Su'Kal. Has to be him. And Culber's staying too. Can't anyone just take an order? Okay. Book is getting close, and he's ready to beam up Burnham, but he's got a surprise guest on board, Adira. She snuck off with some radiation medicine to buy some time for Saru and Culber, so good job. Back on Disco, those creepy Emerald Chain Goons have put some of their mind control device on Stamets, and Osyraa kicks Tilly out of the captain's chair. As Book and Burnham approach the Discovery, and Osyraa's ships disappear in a flash, leaving them with nothing. To be continued. I told you there's a lot of plot. This gracious, what was it? Excited gratitude, whatever it was. I love it. Yeah, a lot going on there. Quick thoughts, Holly, and then, like I said, we have so many great callers lined up here that we want to get to. So, what do you think?
I mean, seeing Doug Jones out of makeup, I'm so excited. I know that that's what he's meant for. Right? Like, that's what most of his career has been. That's what he's known for. That's what he's good at. I'm really excited that he has been given, even if it's just one or potentially 2 episodes, because I don't know what happens in the next episode yet. But I'm very excited that he has gotten the opportunity to act out of prosthetics, which is just a really weird thing to be excited about. But, you know, I feel like there's the possibility that people have not actually seen what he looks like. And them getting the opportunity to see like the actual face behind all of these wonderful characters that he's created throughout his career is really exciting. I think that I want to say that the writers did this on purpose, and they probably did. And if they didn't, we'll just give them credit for doing so. The amount of emotion that Doug is able to communicate through his prosthetics is really impressive, but we're able to see that more when he's a human. And obviously him going down there and, you know, seeing the Elder and seeing another Kelpian, his facial expressions and his reactions are so good.
Oh yeah.
This is a really great Saru episode.
Yeah, it really is. He's marvelous. Now, one of our listeners here in the chat does say, you know, why did the hologram need to make him human when obviously Kelpians are kind of a known quantity around there? Like that shouldn't have to be a thing. But we do know that hologram was glitching out all the time. So that could have just been a random decision.
Someone else in the chat is saying that he loves that, and I have this in my notes too, that he loves, Ryan is saying, I love that he still had Saru's mannerisms, even though he was out of makeup. So if you notice, Saru, even as a human, he has his arms behind him. Even though he's not in those crazy shoes and doesn't have the crazy feet. Yeah, he's still, and then the actor who plays Su'Kal does that too when he runs away from Burnham, when Burnham is pretending to be the program and scares him because she's like, restart me or whatever. When he kind of runs away, he has his arms behind him too. And I was like, oh, good. I'm so glad that like other people that are playing Kelpians have adopted that. And I mean, obviously at this point, that walk is like intensified just because that's what they've decided, that's what Kelpians do. But originally Doug was walking like that just to keep his balance on those weird shoes. So the fact that it's become like part of the Kelpian persona is, I just think it's fun. And I'm glad that they're paying that close attention.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like going back to, you know, when Star Trek was brand new and you've got, you know, Leonard Nimoy coming up with something like this. for those of you who can't see me, I'm doing the Vulcan
There we go.
hand gesture, just coming up with a thing then that becomes part of the whole Vulcan culture, the whole
Yeah.
mystique, and now you don't even separate the two. So I do love that. Hey, like I said, we have so many great callers lined up. Let's go ahead and get right to it. Joining us is the Vice Admiral. Welcome. How are you?
Oh, doing far better than most of the autumn, but I'm not going to go into my issues. How are you two doing?
Okay. I hear you, man. I'm glad to see you for sure. So
I'm glad to be seen.
Yeah, doing well. Yes, yeah. Well, what did you think of this week's episode?
I mean, for the most part, it's a wonderful episode. I loved a lot of it, but I have to say there are some definite concerns.
Okay.
Talk to us about it.
As we already talked about, why was Saru required not to look like a Kelpian in the presence of a child Kelpian that theoretically would have seen him as a, shall we say, more of a comforting presence?
Well, and the reasoning for him going
Right.
down, because keep in mind that like usually captains don't go on away missions.
Right.
They're not usually part of
Yeah.
the landing party because it's inappropriate. If you ask Deanna Troy, Captain, it is inappropriate.
Oh, sure, but he's from a generation prior to Kirk, so who knows what...
Fair. Who knows what?
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
mean, part of the reason why he was going down is because he was a Kelpian, and they were
Exactly.
hoping that I feel like the writers
Yeah.
also did that on purpose to complicate it. So
I'm
They
assuming
could-
that the program was written in such a way that the child had a significant amount of reverence for the elder, and
Right.
any other Kelpian might be
Mm.
considered some form of taking away from that reverence or the authoritativeness of that program.
right. But I mean, it
Oh,
also gave us an
interesting.
excuse to see Doug Jones out of makeup.
Oh yeah, no, that was excellent. That-
Yeah.
all around.
Well,
good.
and by that, yeah, and whole kind of experiment here. I mean, Burnham and Culber are both human, and humans are clearly part of the holodeck programming anyway. So there wouldn't be
Yeah.
a real need to change them into a Bajoran and a Trill.
Right.
So maybe we just say, again, we have to chalk it up to a glitch, or I don't know. I would love to know from a writer why they thought it was necessary in universe to do that. I think, Holly, you had the production reason, which is, come on,
Yeah,
we
I
gotta
have
get
the
Doug
real
on makeup.
world.
We
That's so
got to
boring.
see his face at some point. And he is marvelous. I would not have traded that for anything because just,
Agreed.
to see him is wonderful. But I'm a little.
But it's more
unsure
like
about
they
the
show up in the
reasoning.
program and the program rolls a percentile die and decides what they're going to be, right?
What I think is
Sure,
funny
right,
is that
right.
their clothing change. They walk into like the crazy maze situation or whatever we want. I mean, the Citadel, I guess. And one of them makes a comment like, "Oh,
Oh.
the Hollow changed our
A Canadian prison.
clothing again." And I was like, "Why didn't just the clothing? Why not your species?" Because I feel like it could have changed the species as easy
Oh,
as it
yeah,
changed their
sure.
clothes.
Oh yeah, good
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
And they
yeah.
also they still have their Starfleet equipment on them. We know that, but they
Right.
can't use it. They can't see it.
Mhm.
So useful, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
exactly.
speaking of Starfleet equipment, didn't Adira build a device way back when they first showed up here to block site to site the current version of transporters from punching right through Discovery's shield?
Shields, yeah, I thought about that too.
Yeah, she talked
I'm
about
glad
that
you
when she
brought
was in
that up.
engineering with Stamets.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of
Yeah.
people are going to be asking, like, how did they go through the shields? I mean, the shields were at like something like 54% when they got them back up, and when Osiris crew came on, which wasn't just Orions, there were some Andorians in there too.
That's
Ugh.
true.
Yeah,
But they had their antennas though. They had their antennas intact, so lucky them.
Right.
But shields
yeah,
at any level are shields, right?
right. So how did they get through
Yeah,
the shields?
yeah.
Why wasn't anybody able to stop them?
I'm
Namely
guessing
Adira.
for the exact same reason that they were able to find Discovery instantaneously, because somebody on the inside is giving her all the information that she needs to find and disable them. That's why she could beam directly into the cube room. That's why she knew exactly what to disable. She knows enough about that ship.
Oh.
Is
right
it the
now.
Andorian?
I don't think it's the Andorian. I think it's
Really?
somebody
He's like
else.
the only one from the outside. Who else would it be on the
John?
ship?
John, can you say
Wow. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, the Vice Admiral is dropping
Oh, you think it's
an
Batman?
amazing here. This is, okay. Look,
He
I
does
would
seem to
be-
constantly have issues with things that are not things most people would have issues with.
If they
He
make Vance
does.
a bad guy, I'm going to be so disappointed because I really love him.
I do too. Don't get me wrong. He's
Yeah.
been an excellent admiral, and I'm not hoping that he's it, but I don't
Also,
see a
the-
lot of other characters that we have any history with doing the job.
The term Badmiral, I've heard the last 2 episodes, and I've literally never heard anybody use that before.
John, would you like to
Wait,
explain?
no way.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, I mean, Holly. Oh my gosh! All the way back to TOS. Well, I mean, referencing TOS.
I've never
where
heard
anytime an
anybody say
admiral or a
that.
commodore shows up. Really?
I
Or an
mean, it's
ambassador.
great.
Or an ambassador.
Is it?
And
Or an ambassador? Yeah, but it's the trope. The trope that.
I mean, it is a
if you
trope.
have
I
a
just
person in
didn't-
authority.
I didn't realize that we
Yeah.
had a term for it and that people had been using it. I've
Oh,
never,
yeah.
as,
It's come up
As
in
long
mission
as-
log quite a lot.
as long as I've been around Star
Oh,
Trek
yeah.
and fans, and I've never heard anybody say that except for the last 2 episodes of this.
I do my best not to be
Oh, I'm
one.
thinking we did have I think we need a T-shirt that says Badmiral on it. I think
I'll even wear it for a while.
Hey man, there you go. I am so intrigued now. I also do not want them to go this direction of having a Badmiral Ants because I think he's cool, and I also I like the idea of not doing a Discovery season where there's somebody on the inside that is the problem.
But
However,
that is what Discovery's
if-
had every season.
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't want to see them do that again. But what you're proposing here ties up a lot of what up until now could be plot holes. So
Sadly.
I guess we'll find out. Hey, thank you so much. I want to get to some of our
Oh yeah,
other
lots of
callers,
folks in the
but,
lyric. But it's good to see you both.
great to
Holly,
see you.
John, great to see you. I'll see you next week too. And hey,
Till next time.
have a
all
happy
right,
new
take
year,
care.
both of you. Take care.
Thank you. You too.
Cheers. Bye. Now let's see here, waiting to chat with us. Oh, it's Chris. There. All right. So I love this. Chris joining us, not from a lower deck, but joining us with Chris. So how you doing tonight,
Yeah.
sir?
Doing good. Yeah, you've seen this, John. This is my holiday card that I whipped up real quick. It's me in my lower decks uniform.
I
You may not be able to see it
love
because I had
it.
to shrink it for the background, but it says in a next gen font, "Happy Holidays from Ensign Bauer and Dog." And there is a little cube dog down there.
Oh my God. Yes.
So yeah, that's my holiday
Amazing.
card.
That is so awesome.
good stuff.
Uh,
Yeah. No, I like this.
That is the
week. I like
best.
I like to see that Burnham is slowly inching her way back into the good graces of Saru and the crew in general, that she gets to go on this. And I really like the call she makes at the end, because I think you need that sort of dichotomy of like, well, you've already made the decision, Saru, of being the captain and going on the away team, even though the rulebook says don't. And even though you're clearly like emotionally compromised by all of this. But Michael recognizes that you have value in this emotional compromise. Like, you are the one who can do this. You know, that's why I like that she doesn't force him to go back, that she doesn't force him to like give in to playing by the rules. That she's like, no, you should stay because, you know, you've come this far, like commit to the bit. You're the one who can do this. I can handle the ship. Me and Tilly can handle the ship. So I like that, you know, we're sort of meshing them back together again. And also, yes, Doug Jones out of makeup. is
I
wonderful.
just, well, yeah. There was something about though, like I understand that we're getting to the place that we need to get for the story to unfold, but there was just something about Burnham's kind of like immediate assumption about Saru's abilities and loyalties, or the payoff of that, you know. Saru telling Burnham behind and then just like, nope, has to be you. It was sort of like cornering him with this idea of him being emotionally invested in this. I want to be convinced that played out the way it should have, that played out naturally, because I felt like those moments were sort of shoot in for convenience. For convenience of just scattering these characters where we want them to be scattered while we let the rest of the episodes play out. I don't Yeah, I don't know if I totally bought it. Maybe, your explanation is probably as good as any that I've heard. But I'm still kind of on the fence about that. It seemed strange to me. It didn't seem strange that Burnham would sort of talk out of line, because obviously we have seen her do that. And she has a certain relationship with Saru that they have well established throughout. But something did not sit with me with the way those played out. But I guess I got 2 more episodes to deal with it, right?
I guess, hopefully. What if they end the
Yeah.
series on a cliffhanger? Wouldn't that be awful?
Oh dear.
I don't
Oh
like
no.
I don't
Oh,
like
yeah.
when entire seasons end on cliffhangers. There's
Yeah.
always the possibility that it's
Particularly
not going
since we have to wait a long time. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
And
remember,
we do have to
like,
wait a long time in between.
season 3 of TNG ended on a cliffhanger, and it was like all that summer people were freaking out. But I always think of like the seasons of shows that have ended on cliffhangers that then got canceled, and like you never.
Right.
I'm always just like, please wrap it up. Just wrap it up. I understand what you want to do with the
Yeah.
cliffhanger. Put it at the end of episodes within the same season. Wrap it up.
Right. But this would be an opportunity, though, since you've got, they've already started shooting Discovery season 4. They had
Right.
started it a while ago.
Yeah. Right.
So hopefully it won't be a gap, but who knows? Yeah.
I mean,
Chris, any other?
Saru being emotionally compromised, he's going to be emotionally compromised no matter where he is, because if they send him back to the ship, he's not only going to be thinking about
Well, exactly.
his
I mean,
child,
yeah,
but remember
that's the
that.
other thing, right?
But
Is that-
remember that Kaminar is also potentially under attack, because he doesn't know for a
Right.
long time. He didn't know that like Osira was there, that she had like come.
Yeah.
She thinks Osira's still at Kaminar. So if he gets back on Discovery, like either way, he's going to be like, which way do I go? Who do I go save? Like my planet could be potentially. I mean, obviously, if he came back to the ship, you would find out Osira's right there. But
Yeah.
he's not having a real good time of it, is he?
No, yeah.
I mean,
and even besides that, I think sort of Michael's point is not only is you're here and you're useful here, but if we take you back, all you're going to be doing is thinking about Sukar and this ship, and your head's not going to be in the game for whatever is going on back on Disco. I think is also part of why she fights back there. Is like, we need someone who has a sort of clear head and isn't, having their mind wander. I don't think she's like dinging him for it. She's like, this is the reality of the situation, my dude. Like, face
Yeah.
it, you're here, you're in it. But yeah, so I think that's also part of her reasoning there.
I took it as a ding, but I will believe you. So, Chris, I do want to move along since we got so many callers tonight. Any final here on this week's episode?
I'm curious what you guys think we can do lightning round. What do we got? What do we think the ghost is going to be? What's that going to resolve into?
Oh,
The hollow
the
ghost,
monster chasing down Sukal?
Like kelp monster.
Oh, I'm going fully with the id monster from Forbidden Planet, because I mean
Nice.
that's to me that's just immediately what I thought of. Like same say where's Dr. Morbius when you need him? 'Cause
You
that's
know what
what's
I thought
happening.
of when I saw it? When it's kind of like, I know it's kelp, but it looks kind of melty, probably because there's like hollow malfunctions. But the baddie from Ferngully, which still to this day as a 34-year-old, Ferngully scares the heck out of me because of that bad guy. Like he gets all like
Because of that.
melty, and then
That's
like
awesome.
he's just a skeleton. And the first time that I saw that hollow, I was like, that's a little bit Ferngully, which scares me.
No, yeah,
That's
definitely
awesome. Chris,
got-
do you have a different
got
theory?
Cthulhu vibes for me when I first saw it, which I guess makes sense because it's
Yeah.
underwater
Mhm.
in kelp. But in universe, my bet is it's the mom, that he saw the mom die.
Oh,
Oh.
wow! We just went
And
to a
that's
dark
his,
place.
that's his like repressed
Yeah.
trauma. And
Yeah.
he put through, said he was 4 or 5 when the burn
Yeah,
happened.
Yeah.
And so that's my in universe bet. But all of these were good answers.
Do you think
Wow.
that his initial yell that caused the burn or whatever it was when his mom actually died?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
So,
that's what
like,
you think. Okay, all right.
yeah.
Just clarifying. I mean, that's
Nicely said.
Yeah.
Yeah,
very
lighten
good.
it up
It's very
here
good
and
theory.
just I'm going to lighten it up here and just say that in the chat, Evelyn says it's Sigmund the sea monster. So I will leave you with that just because it was dark. So there we go. So thank you for that. All right, Chris, take care. Have a wonderful night. We will see you again soon.
All right. Yeah, definitely.
And take care.
Yeah.
I know that this is a point where we use a little business in the show, but I'm gonna forge ahead. Let's take in one more call before we talk about the fine people over at Eagle Moss. And let's welcome Paul. Paul Prime.
Paul Prime. Hello,
joining
John.
us on the
Hello,
show.
Holly. Can you hear me?
Hi.
What's up?
Yes.
How are you?
Great. I should be the Eagle Moss commercial because I got a bunch of the books for Christmas, along with this fine Chateau Picard glass.
Yay!
Ooh,
This is the real
nice.
stuff. Yeah. So
Nice.
no water tonight,
nice.
Holly. Okay.
Oh, I'm not having water either because I had a
No,
day.
he's not.
I'm drinking a gin and tonic. Thank you.
Yes.
Cheers.
Yes.
Cheers to that. Okay,
I
so
feel
I'll be
out
real
of
quick.
place here.
I have one burning question. I want to know, has this been the first captain on captain girl fight in Star Trek? And if so, I need Holly's take on this, because this was excellent. When those two were on the bridge talking through the thing, I was just like, yeah, I wanted to watch this.
So great.
I feel like yes. I don't think we've ever seen like a girl. My first thought, and I put this in my notes because I take notes on everything, is just that it feels kind of Mean Girls.
Exactly. Yeah, my thought too. It's pretty
Like
impressive.
they're just it is aggressive, but if you think about it, it's very like cliche girl passive aggressive. Actually, like some of the like the whole Freud thing, I was like genius, but also super passive aggressive of Tilly to be like,
It was so perfect.
you're projecting.
Yeah.
I thought it was great dialogue. An interesting direction for Tilly to go in her first like face to face with somebody who's like trying to take the ship and potentially kill people. And I thought the dialogue was genius. But yeah, it felt very Mean Girls to me, and I was like, I don't know if everybody's gonna appreciate that. It feels a little bit catty.
No, I thought it was perfect.
Okay,
I just thought it was perfect,
Yeah.
and your response has been perfect. So, John, what did you think?
Oh, God, I loved it so much. I felt like, I mean, yes, you're saying is absolutely 100% accurate. And I think for all those reasons, I loved it, just because I feel like here's Tilly, who we've seen be really awkward in the season. And then, slowly growing into the occasion, growing into what the job demands of her. And then a moment like that, you just go like, oh, she's been walking around with these great comebacks. She's been walking around
Yeah.
with this kind of knowledge to be able to just hold her own in a fight of wits. And
She is
it
very
was great. I
quick-witted.
feel bad.
She's very
Yes,
quick-witted
yeah,
because,
yeah.
like, I would not if I would listen when she's like, "You're not really captain material." If that had been me, I would have been like, "Maybe I'm not." Like, the fact that Tilly just
I
like
would have been
had.
the same way, honestly.
I don't like confrontation. Like I'm like Rachel on Friends, where she was like, if I'm crying, it's just because we're having this conversation. Like I don't like. So I mean, the fact that she actually held her own shows that like she actually is captain material. I mean, aside from the fact that she
Yeah.
owns the ship,
Yeah.
never mind that. A
So
little
One quick last thing. So, if
Carrie-
Giorgio was still around, who would
Yeah.
gang up on who? Would Tilly and Giorgio gang up on Osira, or Osira and Giorgio gang up on Tilly? Or anyway, I'll just leave you there.
That's
Happy New Year.
right.
Just go ahead and
Happy
chat
New Year
amongst
to you, Paul.
chat amongst yourselves. You guys have been a
Oh, I
savior this
love it.
year. Thanks.
Oh,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much, Sharon. Have a great night. Gosh, that's so funny. I think about like the nice thing about having Emperor George board is, she is good in a fight. She will just sort of like take a stand, and she's a bit unpredictable. But yeah, I feel like she also develops of loyalty, clearly. So
Yeah.
she might even, team up with Tilly, but wow. But she would also be showing Tilly a two in the process. So
Well, I
that
mean,
might be the thing.
I definitely think that Mira Georgiou and that Tilly having had to pretend to be Captain Killy, I think both of those helped with her ability for those like witty comebacks.
Yeah.
Like those are
Totally.
experiences that like no one else has. Yeah, those witty comebacks. Georgia always had those. Like she never struggled with that. So
Absolutely. Yeah, she was good at that. Hey, hold on just a second there, Alan. We want a quick shout out to Eagle Moss, and then we will get back to our next callers. While Eagle Moss, oh, sorry, Eagle Moss listeners? No, Mission Log. You're listening to Mission Log. Mission Log listeners are undoubtedly familiar with all the various collections of model starships gleaned from every corner of the Star Trek universe by Eagle Moss Hero Collector. You may not be as familiar with the wide and expanding variety of officially authorized special edition books published by Eagle Moss and available online at the Eagle Moss shop. Now, Holly, you're going to do your thing, and I'm getting out the book.
he's going to get out the book. Fans who pay a visit to the exclusive Star Trek bookshop at herocollector.com/books will discover a range of definitive visual guides that go as deep into Star Trek history and canon as any books ever published, each extensively researched and developed by Eagle Moss Hero Collector under the supervision of Star Trek expert Ben Robinson. Books from the Star Trek Shipyard series present a timeline of almost every ship that has ever appeared in the Star Trek TV shows and movies, from the original series forward to Discovery and backwards to Enterprise. Some of these volumes are dedicated exclusively to Starfleet ships, while others focus on ships from other members of the Federation, including the Vulcans, Andorians, Tellarites, and Bajorans. Books in the Designing Starship series boldly go where few have gone before, deep behind the scenes into the conception, development, and detail of ships from every era. There are even volumes from the comprehensive official Star Trek graphic novel collection.
Okay, all right. So I got out the book of Voyager here, which I have. Thank you, Eagle Moss, for sending this because I love it. And this week what I found is a chapter on holographic medical aids. And specifically what I love here is you had the buildup of the holographic emitter going from skeleton to a full-on Harry Kim. So if you ever wanted to see Harry Kim from the inside out, and who doesn't, now is your chance at in full color. In freeze frame, not just on the show. So very exciting. Everything you ever wanted to know about holographic medical aids right there, and the visible Harry Kim. A few episodes ago in Terra Firma 1, where David Cronenberg is explaining what happened. You saw him form from the inside out. That was very cool. The Beetle guys. So there is something for every Star Trek fan of every generation, plus, especially for friends of Mission Log Live, use our code MISSION10 at checkout and get 10% all books and graphic novels, not just Star Trek, everything. To browse around the shop, visit herocollector.com/books. Use our promo code MISSION10 at checkout for 10% off your order.
Somebody,
right.
Danny Rodriguez
What?
in chat is like, Harry Kim never had abs.
Somewhere in there, somewhere.
They're
I know how he
they're
feels.
after all the skin.
Right. I love it. All right. Oh, I don't think Garrett listens to the show. Hey, let's welcome Alan. Hey, Alan. What's up? How are you, sir?
Hello. Greetings.
Hey,
Greetings,
good to see you.
programs.
I mean, we are programs. We're all programs right now.
We are.
Exactly.
Yes. What's up?
Well, I just wanted to join the chorus of praise for Doug Jones as Saru. First of all, it is good to see him out of makeup, and if I could sort of take it in a little bit of a different direction, I kind of hope that maybe this may be kind of the thing that gets him some awards attention, because honestly, Doug and Saru are kind of the best thing that I've seen in any Star Trek. I don't know what this says about my TV viewing habits. Is my favorite performance of the year.
Oh.
And I get I wonder if there are voters out there who'd be like, well, it's good, but it's the makeup, or it's I don't get it because I can't really see his face and what's going on there. This is him. This is him being able to put his his actual identity to this performance. And I thought it was great. And like I said, hopefully it sort of works its magic in other ways for him too.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see him win some awards for this role. He's doing
No
a phenomenal
question.
job.
Yeah.
He's doing such a good job. I feel like there might be people that think that he's not like that maybe he's not as good as an actor as he like he's a great actor.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a lot of people that might not
Mhm.
be able to see that because again, like you said, like, well, he's always behind some sort of prosthetics, and that obviously like that helps with any performance, is being in costume, being in makeup, like that all helps. But I feel like there might be people that might think that he's not that great of an actor because that's what he's made his career out of. But he's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah. It's in a weird way, it's kind of, the flip side, but also very similar to the struggle of the voice actor who,
Right.
they,
Mhm.
there's sort of like this stigma that, oh, it's just funny voices. But no, it's acting, it's real performance. And, just like Doug and Ron Perlman and Andy Serkis and anybody who
Mhm.
sort of gets sort of lodged into this sort of identity of the special effects actor.
Right.
It's
Right.
there's
Right.
a hell of a lot more to it than that.
I'd like to also give a special
Yeah.
shout out to the Jet Reno character. Tig had one line in this. First of all, she's been gone for a long time. She was in the last episode and is like just with her Twizzlers or whatever. This episode, she had one line, and it's, "What do you think I'm doing?" when she's asked, like, Stamets is like asking her to do something, and I don't even remember what it was because she just stole the whole scene, and he was like, "Make sure that this is happening." And she's like, "What do you think I'm doing?" I'm like, she has one line, and it's like dripping with sarcasm. It's great. She's fantastic too.
It's the
Well,
best.
what I loved about that is I felt like it was a scene they could have shot at any time and just said, well, this is an evergreen. We could just literally get her on set, film that line, and we could plug it in anywhere and it'll work.
Well,
It'll be
how
totally
often do you-
appropriate.
How
know?
often do you think that she has a line that wasn't scripted? Like they could have easily just been like,
I know, right?
She needs to, or maybe they just started writing the way that she acts. Like, but she easily could have been there and not had a line at all and just said that.
Sure,
Which
right.
Actually,
Yes.
like that amuses me. That possibility
Yeah.
amuses me.
Totally.
It's entirely possible. I mean, and yeah, it's like, with Geordie or Scotty, you'd be like, "Oh, I'm giving her all she's got, Captain," but no, it's like,
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
Right, right. Hey, Alan, thank you so much. I need to jump over
Yeah.
to another caller, so I really appreciate it, and
No
we'll see you
worries.
again soon, okay? Happy New Year.
Have a good one.
Take
Yep.
care.
Happy New Year.
All right, jumping now over to Dave, who has been hanging on patiently. How are you tonight, Dave?
So patient.
Look at Dave's in bed.
Yeah, you're just chilling.
Yeah, if I'm in bed.
Yeah.
The only room I get to myself, so the wife and kid are down watching TV.
Yeah, I was like, do you have kids? Are you
Maybe
hiding
not.
from your children?
A little bit.
So what's on your mind tonight other than the peace and quiet that comes from escaping your own family? Talk to us. What's up?
I'll echo the Doug claims. He did really well. I again question the whole why this holodeck chose to change them, but
Yeah.
whatever. I
Yeah,
just have to look
yeah.
at that one. But
Yeah.
it kind of had a TOS feel a little bit. A kid throwing a temper tantrum caused chaos in the universe.
Very Charlie X, isn't it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Very charts and it's kind of a Twilight Zone thing too, little Billy Mummy banishing people to the cornfield or whatever. Like, yeah, I felt like that's a good solid. I might be giving it short change to say it's a trope, but it's a good solid science fiction idea of just sort of this unrestrained id coming out. Go back Forbidden Planet there for a moment.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
Indulge me. So, yeah. What else,
I
Dave?
really enjoyed Tilly. I think she did well. She kind of got a bum deal with her first command.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what she could have done differently, to be honest.
I mean, that's fair, but I also, you know what I also think, and I put this in my notes, that the scene that she has with Burnham, in their quarters before everything happens, you know, like the quiet before the storm, that whole conversation about like the little thing nub or whatever, that was weird to me. But the point is, seeing somebody who's about to take command for the first time be that, like, showing that she's nervous, like that's not something that we've really seen before. And then like seeing the, like her sitting down and her experience, that like excitement and pride, and like everybody else around her is sort of experiencing it with her. I thought that was sort of refreshing and really, really humanizing for her as a character, which, I mean, you know, she's already done so much with so many people that have been like, I really relate to that character in terms of her being a little bit socially awkward. And even Michelle Yeoh made a comment on one of the after shows that she was like, I relate most with Tilly. And then, you know, it's Will Wheaton that does the after show, and he's like, me too. Like, so I feel like she's already done so much, but to continue that and to show like, A, she took command, which is, holy crap, that's exciting. But B, like seeing her be nervous and then seeing her be excited to actually take command is great.
And the crew were supportive.
Love it.
I mean, that's a big deal.
The crew not questioning it, I'm sure helps. I mean, because they were all just excited. Like you see all of the characters like waiting for, like even Book is like, yay, like, so you're gonna sit down in the chair. Yeah, I'm so excited for her. And then, you know, I don't know what she could have done differently either. I mean, she made really great decisions, you know, scan the area around the ship. Genius. I wouldn't have thought to do that. And that's how they figure out that it's not, that it's not actually a Federation ship. Yeah, she did. I didn't, well as could be expected in those circumstances.
And that's the thing. I didn't want to read too much into the preview for next week's episode, but I hope it's not a situation where we're just waiting for Book and Burnham to come say, I want to see Tilly be awesome and not get, you know, the rug pulled out from under her in her front of command. I want to see her resolve that situation. I want to see her take command back, because it's unfair to put her in the chair and then 10 minutes later, boom. You know,
have Burnham be the hero,
face the no-win scenario. Yeah, I don't think that would be fair. Obviously, they're going to work as a team, but I don't want it to just be like, oh, Burnham needs to come in and stay because Tilly can't do it.
But do you think based on that whole scene of the ship getting taken over and like her being like, Osyraa being like, get out of the chair, and her being like, you have to kill me first, and that's very Kobayashi Maru. I feel like she passed.
Oh yeah,
passed that test. Like she was willing to die. Like she was like, you were gonna have to kill me first, and you're not taking the ship.
Didn't she call? She was gonna blow up the ship.
She said she was gonna blow up the ship before they would be able to take it over, which obviously didn't happen. But also when she's being pushed out of the, like literally physically removed from the chair by Osyraa. Before that, she was like, "You're gonna have to kill me first." It's very over my dead body sequence. Which I feel
it's like Shax. It's like Shax from Lower Decks. He's first sign of trouble, blow up the ship, eject the warp core, blow it up. You know.
I mean,
hey, Dave, thank you so much for.
Jax
go
won
ahead.
too.
Go ahead.
Jax passed too because he died.
Yeah, exactly. Dave, thank you so much. We got a couple more callers today who I want to be able to say hello to. So thank you for calling in. We'll see you again soon, right? All right. Enjoy the peace and quiet in your bedroom. Cheers, man. And popping over now to Casey. Casey, how's it night?
Oh, we're on Kardashian.
What's up, guys? Yeah, I winter here. It's a little too cold back home, so yeah.
They do keep it warm.
I did it. Yeah, you know, it's an honor of us seeing our new our first Bajoran of this era, which is awesome. Man, how you guys doing tonight?
Good. It's raining. It's raining here in LA. So
hallelujah.
It's exciting. We got some
Yeah.
rain.
That is exciting. Oh man.
Oh, and
Wacky.
along with it, thunder and my lights going on and off 3 times last night. So yeah, that was great.
I like the rain,
that
and I
was
didn't have
exciting.
any problems. So.
It's like you're in a breaking down hologram. You know,
It is.
it's harkening back
like
to the
that.
TNG days. Which,
Just one that won't let you sleep.
by the
Yeah.
way, was I the only one? As soon as that hologram lady started glitzing out, was I the only one worried that Badgie was going to show up and just start getting murderous with everyone? I really
That's-
wanted that to happen.
the crossover we were waiting for.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
Maggie!
It's all continuity. It all comes together. And on that note, did the programmable matter, did it change the foot shape of Saru? Because he was saying that he's not walking normally. He's on his ankles.
Yeah, he said that his heel is touching the
Yeah, it was
ground or
touching
something.
the
He said
ground,
something
yeah.
about his heel, like that he could. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
so
know. I don't fully understand the way holograms.
It's programmable
work.
matter. You know, it's
It might be.
It's cool.
Yeah.
No, it was cool. No, it was like an in joke because Doug Jones has to wear those things day in day out every day.
What a
So
champ!
it's always nice when they give the actors who wear makeup all the time a chance to just be human. Like
Yeah.
I think Michael Dorn got one of those when Paul Sorvino was on. He got to be his little different alien for a change.
Yep.
But no, it was cool. I don't know what's going on with this. I thought it was like a Gary Mitchell thing going on when the kids started freaking out and like sending out the things. I'm
Yeah.
like, God, godlike
Mhm.
powers.
Mhm.
I don't know. And I'm not unconvinced that freaky monster thing isn't really the kid or something, you know, because that would be a really cool twist. Or maybe it's like a Logie Kirk and regular Kirk kind of thing. Maybe they're both the kid, like split in the middle, and he has to accept himself for the world
Well,
to be
Right, right.
again.
I mean, yeah, the story is, I guess, like this is new to Kelpians for us. Like Kelpians have a story, I guess, for their children where you have to face your fears or whatever. So I guess this is his fear. This monster.
Maybe it's better than Flodder. Let me tell you.
Oh
No, you're not going to sell me on Flodder.
Flodder,
It's not
no,
gonna happen.
I'm like,
Nope.
Flodder was so bad, wasn't it?
It was not good. It was right up there with the little flying head thing, the Alexander
yeah.
episode.
The Price of Living. Or
Yes.
Yeah. That was
Yes.
Yeah,
floating bubble head. Yeah.
Not
Higher
the
the fewer.
best. Not
Yeah.
the best.
The higher,
The higher,
fewer.
the fewer, the greater, or something like that.
Oh
Yeah.
god.
The-
We
see,
did,
the
we
thing
did get
that
some
I-
meaning out of that.
I don't want this episode or this arc to feel like it explain everything, because I feel like that's a problem with a lot of science fiction, and you know, to be fair, a good amount of Star Trek is just trying to cram in every detail. I do feel like there are definitely missing pieces to what. Not just what the monster is, what part of Su'Kal this represents, but actually how that works. Like what's going on here with the ship being able to send out or the planet sending out this burst of energy that caused all this stuff. Like I'm a little torn. I don't want to get into so much minutia, so many details, and I just feel like they're trying to technobabble it to death. But I do feel like we need to learn a bit more just to sort of make the pieces fit somewhat.
You know how I kind of saw it? When they were walking to like the fortress and those like moving weird pieces. First of all, I was like, oh, it's like a video game. But then I was also thinking that it's very much like having like that whole atmosphere, probably because it's glitching out partially. I mean, maybe his mom was just weird and programmed it to be weird, but I also felt like it was very much like being inside a dream, where when you have a dream and then like in the dream things make sense, but then you wake up and you're like, what? And there's absolutely no explanation because it's literally just your subconscious trying to work things out. And there's a lot of aspects of this that I feel like you said, John, that don't need to be explained if it's just like having like a weird glitchy dream.
It's
That's
just
what it
like the
felt like.
Royale. It's just like the Royale.
Yeah, like stuff that just
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
make
yeah, yeah.
sense because the
think so.
atmosphere is weird. That's
Yeah.
what the answer
And
is. The
there
atmosphere
was-
is weird.
There were two parts of that sequence that I kept trying to sort of keep in my head. And one is that I thought that there was this really, really sweet and understandable component to it that this mother is saying and scared for the future of her child and doing everything she can to create a protective and racial environment and hope that he would be able to get out of it someday, move on with a functional life someday. But even those best efforts couldn't be realized perfectly. It's countered with this thing that Star Trek does very often, which even though it takes place in a super advanced future, even though it takes place with technology that we can only dream about, Star Trek still has this very sort of interesting relationship with technology where it will only let you go so far until Star Trek will tell you, ooh, but that technology can get out of hand and it will fail you unless you bring in sort of a real or quote unquote human component to sort of temper technology run wild. And that's what we're seeing here as this holodeck fails, even built with the best intention, even built with this sort of benign purpose. It can get you so far. There has to be real people there to take care of this lost soul, such a tragic figure on this show. So I loved seeing that sort of come to life. And I think I speak for us all, because hoping for good things for Su'Kal next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor
It's
guy,
sort of-
man.
sort of-
What a life.
Yeah.
Echoes of Kevin Uxbridge,
Yes,
like,
right, right.
like
yeah.
that kind of creepy vibe if it did turn out to be his mom,
Mhm.
as the monster. But I don't know. That is one thing I sort of lament about this new era. Like I love a lot of things about this new Trek era, but it's sort of by necessity, maybe, that we've moved away from having more simple stories, like that story with Kevin Uxbridge. It was very simple, it was just mysterious thing on this planet. Troy's freaking out because she's got music in her head. That's all you need. With this, there's so much happening. It feels almost impossible just to tell a simple story.
You're talking about the survivors.
Yeah, I was. But I'm just talking about new Trek in general. Like you could get away with having a really simple story in the past.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's so much happening, and there's like an impulse to never let anyone get bored. Which that's understandable. You don't want your audience bored.
Well,
But-
I mean, we have talked about this before. Is like the attention span of people right now is lower than it was back in the day, and storytelling is different because of the way that people are consuming their media now. I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic and we're just binging stuff, which I mean, people were binging stuff before the pandemic, but that's like a thing now.
Yeah.
They have to grab you somehow, and it's serialized storytelling, and in that, like, you can't really, I actually think that they're doing a really great job of having the long-term problem of trying to figure out the burn and all these other things that are running throughout the whole season. But I also think that they're doing a good job of having what we used to call bottle episodes, where it's, kind of a contained story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like people's attention spans are running low.
Did they
I
resolve that
felt-
whole music? Did they resolve the whole
music.
musical thing?
Yeah.
You remember? Did they resolve
Well,
that? Did I miss
I mean,
that?
the resolve of that was just that it was a lullaby, that the Federation distress call was buried in that. Why everybody knows it,
Right.
they haven't really solved that. I mean,
Unless it's the lullaby that the old man Kelpian is singing. Because
I was trying to
haven't-
tell if
I
that
haven't
was the
actually-
case, and I haven't really put that together.
but if that was the
concurrently.
case, then
Yeah.
Saru would have known what it was, because he started singing the
Yeah.
lullaby.
That's true.
When
That's
he
true.
heard that song, he
Oh,
would have been
right,
like,
right, right.
"Oh, that's like but it wasn't even like, we don't even know if it's 100% Kelpian, because we saw it on the Seed ship too, and they're not Kelpian,
Right.
you know."
I don't know where they're going. It's
Yeah.
exciting. It's visually exciting. But
It is.
yeah, I don't know. It's also busy. So it kind of,
You
I'm
get a
not
little
sold on
story
it. I'm not
fatigue
sold.
in there. No, I
Yeah.
hear you. And I was feeling that in Picard, just getting story fatigue, where it's like, well, wait, are we taking a diversion to go here? And why are we following this thread? Shouldn't we? And then it feels like a rush to get to the end. You do all of that.
Which, by the
So,
way, were those
yeah.
the flying flowers from Picard in the sky? Were those the flying flowers?
You know, I thought that
Do we-
too, and I meant to go back and like pause it and look at it because
Ah.
I watch it on Thursday and then I rewatch it before we do the show just so I
Yeah.
can
Mhm.
be fresh. But the first time that I saw it, I was like, "Is that the monster?" Like when I rewatched it today, and I was like, "Oh, is that the monster up there?" But
Right.
then like, no, they do kind of look like that creature, the flower creatures that are out
Hmm.
in. Yeah, I would have to go back and look at it again, but it's the same. I mean, it might just be because it's the same designer, but
Some
They
kind of
were-
alien dewdrop?
Yeah.
I don't
yeah,
know.
they're very similar though.
Yeah,
If not
right.
the exact same, they're very similar.
Anyways,
Rick says Gorgamanders.
there you go.
All right.
That'd be awesome.
Take care,
Well, hey,
Casey.
you guys have a great one. You guys have a great one. We'll see
Take
you
care,
next year.
you too. And we will see you. All right. Take care,
All
man.
right.
And rounding out the show tonight, thank you so much for everybody who stuck around a few minutes late. Wanted to get in this final call from John Arminio. Welcome to the show. Pleasure to see you.
Hi, Mr. Champion. Thanks for hanging around and taking my call. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for hanging
Sure.
around. Yeah. What's on your mind tonight?
Real quick, shout out to Bill Irwin who played Sukal. I thought he delivered a great performance
Yeah.
from a really difficult role. So people out there might
Yes.
know him from Legion. So just one of those great character actors that shows up and kills it in an episode. But also I was thinking about helping to ground these episodes and maybe stabilize some of the chaotic storytelling. Something that's been frustrating me about Discovery is that like when Burnham was talking to Saru about how you're going to be emotionally compromised, or when Adira is talking to Gray, or when Stamets is talking to Adira, it seems like these characters are just telling the character they're talking to how they're feeling. Like, you're feeling this. Oh, yes, you're right. And then they move on to the next scene.
Uh-huh.
So in these emotional conflicts aren't given time to develop or simmer at all, and we just sort of like move on, when it seems like this should kind of build up like narrative and dramatic tension and give us something to hold on to throughout the episode. But we just kind of sort of like okay, well, let's just have like 3 hours worth of therapy in these 3 seconds and move on so we can have the
Right.
next scene.
I mean, I would hope at some point that these little flashes of that sort of thing happening, that it would be revisited at some point. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess we won't know until the end of the season. Like, what am I disappointed that didn't really get wrapped up, or what happened that I really felt like didn't get expanded on, or anything like that? Because I always kind of want to give the writers the benefit of the doubt
Mhm.
that if something's happening, or a part of the story is being told, or a scene like that happens that I don't really feel satisfied with, I'm always just like, well, there's more episodes and maybe we'll get to see that get resolved. That was not really something that happened in early Trek, because they were bottle episodes. And so it was like, unless you knew it was like a 2-part episode and it was going to be like a to be continued, it was like, well, that's, I guess but I mean, the way that these stories are being told, we kind of have to wait until the end of the season to see if something gets resolved or not. So, I mean, I understand
There
her
was,
frustration, but I'm also
yeah.
like, well, maybe wait until the end. Maybe.
Well, I wonder, I would kind of come at it from a slightly different example or different approach to that. John, one of the scenes that stood out to me in this episode was the moment that Stamets was begging Culber to not go on this mission. We've seen their relationship develop over a couple of seasons. And now part of that was interrupt Culber's death. And then sort of the weird, like, are we getting back of Culber? We've seen a development. We've seen their emotional bond. I really respect the fact that Star Trek is trying to show a functional adult relationship in the
Right.
context of this world. Star Trek has not done a good job of that in the last
Yeah.
50 years up and however, that scene I felt like needed a rewrite because to me it broke the sort of the rule of what you're saying, which is show don't tell. And
Yeah.
that I everything would have led up to that, which is they're both same ship for a reason. They're both in their jobs for a reason. They know that these missions are risky no matter what.
Yeah.
Granted, yes, Tolbert died. Stamets went through that, and thank goodness we brought him back. But it seemed a little too like we were hitting that scene with a hammer instead of
Yeah.
just sort of letting the emotions be there and be real. So I don't want to say it was an unearned moment because again, they have developed over time, but it felt like that needed a rewrite. It needed something to just make it a little more realistic to me instead of insert dramatic moment here,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's
Right,
like
I mean,
they have the emotional signposts where they should be, but the route to get there is sort of not exactly where
Exactly.
they want it.
Exactly.
The full on of Stamets basically being like, you can't go is, it's very like kind of on the nose about what he was feeling, where I don't think that even having experienced Culber die, like obviously that's going to affect him. But I also think that he would be in a position in which, again, he knows that like these are the risks that they take becoming Starfleet officers.
Yeah.
And if that emotion could have been communicated a different way rather than just outright being like, you can't go, I would have liked
Yeah.
it more too. So
And then it's also strange to have Stamets be so emotionally stunted in his own relationship, and then on the other hand, give relationship advice to Adira, who's in a relationship with a ghost resident part that's
Yeah.
kind of inside her.
we
so
don't
it-
exactly, we still don't exactly know what's going on there. Like
Yeah,
Gray
or-
coming
I'm
back.
sorry. Yeah.
So
all to be resolved next 2 episodes, I'm sure.
I mean, hopefully, maybe they'll leave us hanging on something. I'll be very
Maybe.
disappointed.
Hey, John, I so appreciate you sticking around. I so appreciate our audience sticking around. Any last comment here before we wrap it up and say goodnight?
I'm good. I'm just so glad to have this discussion. So thank you very much.
Oh, hey, thank you. You always bring something insightful and interesting to our chats here.
My
and
pleasure.
how about we do it in time, okay?
Excellent.
So thank you to you. Thank you to Earl. Thank you, Holly. Thank you to everybody who joined us tonight. Mission Log Live is produced by Roddenberry Entertainment, executive producer Rod Roddenberry, technical production on Mission Log Live by the inviolate Earl Green. Be sure to visit podcast.roddenberry.com for the latest from the Roddenberry Podcast Network. If you would like to support Mission Log directly, give us a look, please, at patreon.com/Mission Log. Thank you again to everyone who joined live or later. Stay safe, stay healthy. We look forward to talking with you next week.